It's week 20 of the golfing calendar. Now, coming live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia, Nick O'Hearn, the only player in the world to ever beat Tiger Woods twice in match play, and Mark Allen, the only player in the world to... the only player in the... hang on. Oh, well, this is awkward. Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen. This is Talk Birdie to me.
I know we're about to talk about an almost trifecta of an Australian golf, but I just want to give you some insight. I played some golf on Saturday. Played golf with a bloke who I've never played with before. Had his initial in his name, which is unusual. All right, I won't say it. You know how he's... Yeah. Like it reminded me of Mark A. Allen. Okay. This guy had his initial in there for some reason on the timesheet. I don't know why. Maybe he's got the same name as somebody, another member. Anyway, interesting player, big bloke. Hits it straight, doesn't mess around. It's going to be a quick round. I'm thinking, wow, this guy's good.
Is this at the Heath?
Yeah, it is at the Heath. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he hit a shot. He was about 160 metres out. Hit a shot, and it went phew, really nice. I looked over there. He had a hybrid. A couple of holes later, 170 metres. A little bit further.
Okay.
Look back. He's got another hybrid. I go, mate, how many hybrids you got? He said 3.
Okay.
Why don't more amateur golfers have hybrids?
Oh.
Because this made the game so much easier. And it wasn't a big high ball. I mean, how many amateurs do you know are big high ball hitters, right? Not many, are there?
No.
Anyway, he made the game seem easy for somebody who hadn't been playing golf his whole life like you and me.
That's impressive. Well, I know a lot of the women's golfers have hybrids in the bag, and I tell you, there's a good reason for it because it makes the game easier, as you say. Easy. The one guy I remember on the PGA Tour who was the best.
Did he hold the bag above his arm after beating Tiger Woods?
Oh, since it's PGA week, Wowee Yang. It wasn't him though.
Yeah, who was it?
Tim Clark, the South African.
Oh, that's right.
He had a bunch of hybrids. I reckon I would say a 5-iron might have been his lowest iron, maybe even a 6-iron. He might have had a 5 hybrid or a 7 hybrid in there or something. Right. So,
well, you're wearing a ping hat. I'm a Titleist guy. When is it we're going to see a good set of mid to low irons? Yeah. So let's say 6-iron down for blokes. All right, aimed at blokes because I see it sometimes aimed at women, you know, with the pink shafts and everything else. I mean, it's just completely aimed at women. When do you think Titleist or Ping will make a shape of iron that looks really, really good from 6-iron down to their short irons? Yeah. And then have a 5 hybrid and a 4 hybrid and a 3 hybrid.
Well, I'm sure they've already got the hybrids there. I know Ping do. You can get various lofts in the hybrids, but then you can also get the irons if you want. So you're more a traditionalist. But
you'd have to break in, wouldn't you? You'd have to break in. You wouldn't just walk into a golf store and see them all lined up on that rack like that. You would have to mix and match.
You go the bargain barrel type. Yeah.
Anyway, his name was Mark Tucker. I don't know why he had a K in the middle, but Marco, it was good to watch you play, and it really was. It was really. I mean, he didn't shoot the lights out or anything, but golf was so much easier for him.
I think I know Mark. He could be a cathedral member, Mark.
He is a cathedral member.
He is too. Yeah,
that's right.
You just said his name and gone, oh no, Mark, hang on.
K. Tucker.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's got to hear his name now.
He's a great bloke. Yeah,
that's for sure. Jason Day, beautiful to watch. I think he called it, I saw an interview he did with Fox Sports, he called it a beautiful win or something along those lines. We've been saying for how long? Let's pump up our own tyres. Yes. We have been seeing this coming just from the way he's swinging, his attitude. He's not bashing it under pressure. I mean, I know you've watched him. Let's go back a bit because I know you've been watching him. What made you think that he was due? Because you've been saying it for a while.
Well, I think everyone's been saying it for a while. What was it? At the end of last year, he was ranked something like 115 in the world.
175, I reckon he was.
Well, that was in the middle of that was way back.
That was at his worst.
Yeah, but just before Christmas, I think he set himself a goal to get into the Masters. And I think, what was it, the first 7 or 8 events of this season, he didn't finish outside the top 20, had countless top 10s. The form was there. It was just a matter of time. Really thought going into the Masters, he was one of the favourites, but unfortunately it didn't quite happen for for him, and he's just kept that form going. And the thing, as you just alluded to, was he's not ripping at the ball anymore. He's just going at it with control. He's still got a lot of swing speed, obviously.
Yep.
But the control is there, and the putting touch, the short game, that's never left him. So some of the chips he hit around the greens on that back nine. I mean, I didn't see all of the golf.
There was one
I
hole
only
chip I saw in the highlights.
Was
beautiful.
there?
Yeah, hold the chip.
Not
along
surprising.
The way.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if you watch his action too, no wrist movement at all. It's all just very one piece, back and through, very shallow. A wonderful action to emulate. But what was that? His first win in 5 years?
First win in 5.
Yeah.
I think was his first win actually at the Byron at the old course. I know
it was at the old one. Yeah. Is this the one? Are we in the same facility? Is it across the road? Because they had 36 holes there at the old Byron.
There's a joint called the Ranch.
Okay, this is completely
and I think it was
different.
fairly named too by the looks of it. It didn't come up well on the telly. As far as beautiful golf courses that you quite often see.
Yeah.
This had a bit of a ranch look about it, to tell you the truth, but it doesn't matter. I mean,
if there's 18 holes in the ground, someone's got to win, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way I look at it.
Siwoo Kim needed to do something special in the last. It didn't quite happen. Scheffler
he tied
lost
to the
his
lead
way
briefly, and then Dave just knocked in his couple of footer. Yeah, Scheffler lost his way, as you said. Young Austin Eckroat as well played really beautiful golf down the stretch.
Did you hear about him?
No.
This was a great little story,
Okay.
and I'm going to ask. I want an answer. You'll understand what I'm about to ask you when I tell you the story. But this kid, it was his best finish, and at the start of the week, he was fiddling around in his garage, and found a beautiful old Scotty Cameron putter that he used in high school and hadn't touched since high school.
Oh.
And it was one of those ones that was kind of, had the answer neck, but it had a high toe, the little high toe that goes up a little bit.
Yep.
So it was one of those Scotty Camerons. It was probably one of those 61 or whatever they call it, Scotty Camerons.
Yep.
Beautiful putter. Guess what? Gets it out of the garage, leads the putting stat for the week.
Ooh.
So he just found it. Beautiful old putter he used to use in high school, puts it in the bag and leads for the week. Now, have you ever done that in your life? Have you ever gone back and found one of your old putters and done that?
No, but you just reminded me, a good mate of mine, Paul Marsh, good player, plays out of Victoria
Does he?
Golf Club, but he sent a picture to a little chat group that we've got, and he found an old, it was a Wilson 88...
8802.
Not the 102, not the 02. It was
8813.
13, that's the one. He said he found it after 20 years. Apparently his brother-in-law had it and finally gave it back to him. And he said it was the greatest day since his wedding.
Wow.
I love it. But I'm going to be curious to know how he putts with it after not having it for 20 years, because the shape of it looks absolutely beautiful.
Send him a message and find out. See if he'll get back to you. See if he's used it yet, or has he only just posted?
It was just yesterday.
Hey, just on that, when I was a kid, Ben Crenshaw was the guru. He just won his second US Masters, and there was all these legendary stories about the man. So he had a 8802.
Yes.
But in Australia, for whatever reason, we only ever had 8813s.
Did we?
That's why I know. That's why I know the serial numbers, because when I was a kid, I wanted a 8802 like Ben Crenshaw, but no pro shop in the whole world ever had one. All we had was 8813s. Now, later in my life, I've seen 8813 and a 8802 together. There's no difference.
Oh, really?
No difference.
Oh, that's good to know. So I might go searching for the. I have no idea why they did it.
Why would they do that?
Well, it's 11 numbers difference. So who knows? But anyway,
it must be just the metal they use. It must have been. You know how sometimes they use different metals.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, just while we're on that, there is no doubt the better irons you play with have better metals, because there's a definite feel soft.
Yeah.
Just feels like butter when you hit a nice 6-iron that's made correctly.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to find the sweet spot at the moment, so it wouldn't matter what you put in my hands right now. But anyway, going back to the golf, great win by Jason Day. One thing I was going to say, have you seen his golf barn at his home?
Yes.
You get on YouTube, have a look at that facility. I mean, if you put it this way, if you can't sharpen your game up at his home range and simulator and golf barn, this thing is incredible.
Well, he lives in Ohio.
Yeah.
And in
That's where his wife's
Ohio,
from.
during winter, they're 6 foot under snow.
Yep, it's freezing.
So he had to get something up and going. But he had one of those ones, and I think there's a few in Australia, where there is a fake grass putting green, and then on the roof there are all kinds of lights and things that shine down, and it shows you the breaks. So, and then what they can do is they can move the floor, but then when the floor's being moved to alter the brakes, so are the brakes on the lights that shine down. So it's just...
Seriously.
It is just ridiculous. And Jason's got one of those.
Well, it's helping him shoot 62s in final rounds, and what a performance. The other performance I was really quite pleased with to see, Adam Scott shot 63.
Incredible.
Final round, tied for 8th. So he's going in with some form into the PGA this week.
Well,
Look out.
I think I said he's never swung it better last week.
You did.
He has never, and I think the PGA, like if you follow them on Twitter, the PGA Tour put out 1, 2, 3 different views of his swing. So I'm thinking they must be listening to what we are saying,
obviously,
because they're onto it. I mean, you know those tweets that come out describe Adam Scott's swing in 3 words. Yeah. I reckon I saw 3 of them this week. So they're onto it, but he's never swung the club better. They're playing at a golf course this week, and we're going to do a bonus, aren't we?
We are.
Are we, Dan? We're going to do something?
Up for it. If you want to do it, we'll do it.
I think we better.
Oh, we have to. It's it's a major.
Yeah, and when you look at the history of this golf course, we don't golf early or anything, but
no.
It's had, I think this is going to be the 4th US PGA. It's had 3 US Opens. It's had 2 US Amateurs. It's had 2 US Senior PGAs and 1 US Senior Open. So, storied golf course. For whatever reason, they're going in 10 years at the moment. So the bloke who won 20 years ago, who was that guy who hit the 7-iron to about
Sean
3 feet?
McKeel.
Sean McKeel.
6 inches, actually.
Thank you. And the one who won it 10 years ago? Duffner.
Yep.
Yeah, you've been doing some research.
Oh, I just
this
know
is very good.
I know that.
So we're back at. So that'll give you some scale, folks. That's the golf course we're going back to. It's a beautiful joint. It's been refurbed, but I reckon I'll leave all those details until we do the bonus, because I had a quick look at the refurb. Spectacular.
And some golf courses are just built for major championships for sure. And we saw that, I think, this week. Definitely a potential major venue is on the LPGA Tour, where Jin Young Ko, unfortunately, beat Minjee in a playoff. We were talking about a possible trifecta. Who do we have? We had Jason Day.
Yes.
Minjee was leading, 2 up with 3 to go, or 4 to go, and Cameron Smith.
Oh, don't leave him off, because Andrew Leonard will go ballistic. He will go nuts.
Maybe we should just not talk about it, just to wind him up. But Upper Montclair is the golf course, just outside of New York or New Jersey area there.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
I've played there.
Oh, how good is it?
Really good. A good mate of mine called Dan Plesac. He was a baseballer back in the day, MLB.
Who did he play for?
He was a left-hander. I think he pitched. Well,
pitcher.
He played for
he's a pitcher.
A variety of teams, Philadelphia and all them. But he's on the MLB network now in the States. Right. Good mate of mine, left-handed golfer. He took me there for a game one day, and tell you what, it's a really nice property. Just old school. Just the greens are very severe and quite tricky, and it really showed up on the television, I think, with the women's event. But gee, that was a tough loss for Minjee, but she took a lot of positives out of it from her post-round interview that I saw. And Jin Young Ko, good to see her back playing well as well. So
I saw her putt on the 72nd, and I saw Minjee. She held the putt to get into the playoff.
30-footer, very impressive.
I also saw Minjee. She wasn't the best day. When I switched on and I was watching, she was having what the commentators were calling a difficult day, but was hanging in there. And then I think it was the 13th hole. She was on a bare lie. She had a poor chip to about 10, 12 feet. She had this left to right putt and hold it nicely. I mean, it was a beautiful putt to stay one in the lead. Yeah. But that may have been where the good putting finished.
Yeah, I saw something, I think it's on 16, where she missed the green. She had a 2-shot lead at this stage playing 16, because Jin Young hadn't played the 18th. He hadn't made birdie there. But missed the green right, pitched up to about 8 feet, and it was a dead pull. Definitely. I mean, an 8-footer, you miss the hole by a cup and a half, that's a dead pull. And then in the playoff hole, which I saw, they showed a bit of a slow-mo after the fact, after the putt where she missed it to extend the playoff. Yeah. Took it outside and then opened the face going through it. So that's something maybe that needs a little bit of attention there. But she did so many good things throughout the week. Obviously putted beautifully. Tee to green, one of the best in the world, male or female. I don't, you can compare it to anyone. Superb. Probably better than any of the men, I think, from tee to green. The only thing different is the distance side of things. But one of the best ball strokers around, a great week for her. And I'm sure, after a slow start to the season too, she'd played 4 or 5 events and really hadn't finished inside the top 20. So it was good to get the ball rolling for her.
Talking about PGAs, I saw a little commercial where they're playing the women's PGA next month at Baltusrol. So it is spectacular.
They got some good and the Pebble Beach for
US
the US Open.
Yeah, and
we just need St Andrews now.
Well, St Andrews was played. Was it last year or the year before?
Might have been the year before or something.
So that is one of the big wins for worldwide for men and women golf is to see the girls playing at some of the iconic golf courses that we've seen. Baltusrol, no one forget Jack Nicklaus. Jack is back. Jack is back. All the crowd chanting when he's hold that long putt beat Asai Aoki, 1980.
Gee, you're going back now.
I'm going, well, if I got it right, I think it's 1980.
Yeah, you could be right.
Anyway, so to see the girls teeing it up, pegging it in big tournaments where careers are made and lost and all the rest of it at golf courses that household names is brilliant.
This may be a silly question. I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah, I'll give you a silly answer.
Why don't the women play at the Masters at Augusta, a major? I mean, they have 5 majors already, right? They've got a women's PGA, US
Evian.
Open, British Open, the Evian, which that's the dud right there.
Yeah.
And the other one's the Chevron, and I understand they pump a lot of money, and that was the Dinosaur and all that.
Which is the Dinosaur where they dive in?
Dive in,
yeah. That's
I know
it's a different name now.
It's called the Chevron now.
Yeah.
So I went to the A&A for a little while as well.
That's right. So they've got 5.
But Evian's a bit of a dud to me from what I've seen over the years. Even the top players go and skip it. But why don't the women play at the Masters? I think that's the next step. That would be fun. They've got the amateur event there for the girls. Now it's time to maybe get them going there as well. That would be something. I don't know why that hasn't happened.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you a silly answer.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a silly question on top of it, all right?
Go on.
Will it happen in our lifetime?
Ooh, well, depends on how long I live for.
I would like to see it.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so. Yeah, I might do a little research as to why, if that's been posed before. I'm sure the question's been posed before.
It has.
And I'm not sure why. But whether you could spread it apart a few weeks or a month apart, something like that.
Yeah.
Who knows? By the way, going into the LPGA event, Nelly Corder had Joe LaCava on the back.
Oh.
And when I saw that, I said to you, going to win by 4.
Yeah, and you know what I did? I put $50 on.
Oh.
You said to me, and I thought to myself, he's right. She's going to win by 4.
So, Mark,
I went straight to...
I've got to tell you, sorry, mate, we put it on the wrong LaCava. Joseph LaCava. Joe's son.
Joe's
caddy
son.
for Steve Stricker.
and
he won by
kidding
6.
me? Are you
We put it on the
kidding me?
wrong LaCava. There you go.
So Stricker wins by 6 on the Champions Tour
With Joe LaCava's son on his
with A. LaCava
bag.
on the
How
bag.
good's that? So
And
I
Big
did
Joe missed the cut with Nelly Corder.
Oh, I know. That was very surprising.
I've just thrown all the feedback because we're going to get to the feedback. Now, before we get to the feedback, have we actually spoken about Cameron Smith yet?
No.
I think we've missed it. So we have to.
Yes.
He can win next week, can't he? Mm-hmm. The one knock I've got on Cameron Smith is, for whatever reason, I reckon his driver gets a bit wild, it's unexpected wildness.
Yeah, there's a lot of rhythm that needs to occur in his golf swing to get it going straight. We saw that, I guess, at the Players' Championship last year when he got the old snipes going and the blocks every now and then. But when you putt as good as he does, you're always going to be up there anyway, and you just need to get something forward and in the air a lot of the time.
DJ won the tournament.
Yeah,
and
that's a scary thought because he actually said afterwards, I'm playing well.
Yeah.
And he hasn't said that for a long time.
And he's an Aces man, isn't he? He's the captain.
Part of the 4 Aces. The Stingers won this week.
Oh, I thought the Aces won.
No, the South African boys won.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Well, that's good that changes up.
And then the Goat Rangers.
I was getting sick of the Aces winning.
No, the Range Goats, the Goat Rangers.
You and the Goat
I'll
Rangers.
tell you, I'm just winding Lenny up right now. They finished 3rd. So they're actually having a good run. They're having a good run.
What about our guys, the Rippers?
7th. No, it was Cam finished 2nd. Obviously lost in the playoff, and the rest of the boys best was Matt Jones 32nd, and the others were in the 30s and 40s. So not a great week.
It's time for feedback and tweets to the editor. So a stack of feedback, particularly on the top 5 movies, Nick. I mean, people really got involved. But,
what a debate.
Just a little basic stuff. General feedback. I enjoyed the banter between Nick and Mark. I especially like the thoughtful discussions each week, the summary of tournament results around the world, and how the Aussie golfers performed. The masterclass golf tips are easy to understand. They must be yours he's talking about. The interview with David Micheluzzi was insightful. Nick and Mark, they're well prepared. Questions encourage David to open up and be himself. Good job, lads.
Who's that from?
That one is from...
Sandscrape.
Sandscrape's Apple Podcast. So David must be David Micheluzzi. He got off to a good start last week.
Yeah,
Shot the sixth under and then made the cut on the number.
He made the cut on the number. He would have been very popular in the locker room because he bogeyed 2 or 3 of the last few holes and let about 20 guys in.
Yes, I saw that.
You can come on out to it, Dave, anytime you want.
They would have been throwing 20s at him when he walked into the clubhouse. The worst part of this golf podcast is it's too short. Needs to be longer.
Oh, that's nice.
That's very nice. Who's that?
Try Blue.
Try Blue. Good on you, Try Blue.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Speaking of blue.
Go on.
Responding to the message from Tommy last week where he sent a pic of his favourite car.
Oh, we're trying to work out what sort of a car it was.
Yeah, whether it was in the showroom or whatever, but that was blue. And apparently it was a McLaren. McLaren, boys. Oscar's main mode of transport.
And Marky Mark sent a nice little a link that showed them all, and Laird Gordon was onto it as well. So good on you guys.
McLaren.
We certainly appreciate it. But we had a stack of feedback on the movies last week, so I reckon we take a break. I reckon we just quickly hole out here on the 9th green, and I'll be back in a tick to talk through all this movie feedback because it was a joke. And the poll. The poll went crazy as well.
It was good. I'll see you on the 10th.
Like the podcast? Oh, maybe tell a friend. Drop them a text or share it on your socials. This is talkbirdietome with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Okay, get your driver out, and I want to see a monster down here, Nick, at least 230 metres. All right?
225 at best.
Hey, before we get into the feedback, can you just remind me of my top 5 movies, please? Because I've forgotten already.
Yeah, you would. Let's see. 5 was Bag of Ants, 4 Caddyshack, 3 Tin Cup,
Nice.
2 was Greatest Game Ever Played,
One
and
Sevi.
1 was Sevi the movie.
Yeah, okay.
That was good.
That's rock solid.
Was it a movie or a documentary?
I think Sevi the movie was a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a... Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, a bit of both.
Had some
Had a
real
bit of
stuff
both.
interspersed
I know what
in
you're
it.
saying. Yeah, I know
Okay.
what you're saying. Yep.
And my top 5 was Bag of Ants at 5, 4 was Greatest Game Ever, 3 was 7 Days in Utopia,
Yes.
2 was Sevi, and 1, of course, the iconic Caddyshack.
I did notice 7 Days in Utopia copped it a little bit, but
Yeah, I thought it was good back in the day. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know.
Bailey Bubba 7, Tin Cup for me. Jade Kin Itar was the greatest game ever played for him. Brad Owen, got to go with Mark on this one because 7 Days in
there we
Utopia is so bad.
Oh, gee.
I'm going to have to rewatch it. Simon Davey said Dead Solid Perfect says hi. Yeah, I mean, I've watched a bit of it. No, I haven't watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Tommy's Honour, that was from Freo Harbour Master.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Tommy's Honour?
No.
It's actually good.
Pretty
good. Yeah, it's all about old Tom Morris and his dad and all that.
Yeah, okay. Better have a look.
And of course, we didn't mention Happy Gilmore, but
Neither of us.
yeah, Damien Ratcliffe said Happy Gilmore with a question mark.
Yeah.
And Wayne, who always loves to tweet in, Wayne, 1965, how can Happy Gilmore not be on both lists?
It was a surprise.
Yeah. What about this one from Luke? Phantom of the Open is brilliant. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of it, and I cannot bring myself to watch it.
Why is that?
It's about a guy who apparently somehow got into the Open Championship and he plays off about a 27
No, I'm
handicap
not
or
watching
something
that.
like that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not watching that.
I see that enough on the golf course. So I don't need to.
Wayne,
back.
1965 is back. Nick wins. Pretty simple. Where's Happy Gilmore? That's from Damien Ratcliffe. Robert Weatherall. Always liked the golf game Bob Hope had with Arnold Palmer called Call Me Buana.
Call me Buana.
Never heard of it.
No idea what that is.
And Steve D sent something through a movie called Golf Balls. I'm not sure that's one for the kiddies.
I'm not
by
sure
the looks
that's
of things.
family friendly.
No.
Anyway.
Doesn't look like it.
And
Back to the poll.
Yeah, now the poll. This is the important one.
It is.
So the poll was basically Mark's list rocks. Nick's nailed it. Both are great. Both are off the mark. Well, you've nailed it, 40%. Everyone else...
I got 40.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah. Well, I think the Caddyshack tipped me over the line.
Yeah.
7 days in Utopia held me back for a little while, but I came home strong.
You could have smashed it. You could have smashed it out of the park.
Yeah.
Hey, time to get some results. Have we missed anything this week, Nick?
We missed a couple of things. We did speak about Steve Stricker. He defended his region's tradition title on the Champions Tour. It is a major, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's 2 times in a row he's won by 6 strokes. Best of the Aussies was Richard Green, tied for 11th.
Oh, good. Can I just go back to the major? I'll never get used to majors not sounding like they are majors.
It's got to be a Masters, Open, PGA or whatever, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Exactly.
Can we fix that?
Well, we'll try.
Well, Greenie, that's not his best finish, is it, Greenie? He's had a top 5 somewhere, I reckon.
He finished 2nd or 3rd early on in Morocco. So he's doing well on the money list. He's around top 20-ish.
What's he got to do? Finish the top 30 so he doesn't have to go to tour school?
Probably 50, I think it is these days.
Okay,
something
good.
like that. No, he's well on track. The LPGA event, which we did talk about, a lot of the Aussies did well there. Sarah Kemp actually led after 2 days.
Yes.
Didn't have a great weekend.
And Grace Kim?
Grace Kim finished tied 10th. Sarah Kemp tied 13th. So that was really good from those two.
Nice.
Just an interesting result because I watched a little bit on the DP World Tour, the Soudal Open in Belgium.
Oh, yeah.
A guy who has been to the Q School 11 times.
Oh, I love these stories.
Simon Forstrom. He won Q School this year. Gets his first win. So he doesn't have to go back to Q School. It was really good. He's a Swedish golfer.
How old is he?
34.
34?
Yeah, 11 trips.
Wow.
I mean, that's just banging your head against a brick wall, isn't it? But
yeah.
Good luck to him.
I went 5 times. That was enough.
That was enough. We touched on the live. Our Cameron Smith finished 2nd, and I just want to make mention Kirsten Rudgley tied for 13th on the European Ladies
Good on
Tour.
you, Kirsten.
Really good result for her there. And then locally, we had an interstate series, New South Wales. The team won, defeating South Australia at the St Michael's Golf Club in Sydney.
What a fantastic venue that is to have exactly that championship.
Yeah.
That is just a great, fantastic place to play your golf.
Oh, yeah, I haven't played there. It's right next to New South Wales golf course, obviously, and you can sort of see it from different angles. And I thought, I'd love to play there one day, and I've never got there. But the pictures I see are incredible. Years
ago, I had to qualify there. You know, once upon a time on the Australian Tour, if you made the cut, you played the next week, and if you didn't, you had to qualify.
Yep.
So I had a run of missed cuts in my first year, and one of the years I had to go to St Michael's.
That's unlike you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so I arrived on the Sunday night, and it's dusk. I got lost in the trees because it used to be. I got on some tees, and I didn't know. I didn't know where to go because there was just a tee back there. There's a back tee goes this way, and there weren't any. No markers where you could think, obviously it's a right angle to this. I didn't know where to go. Didn't have a clue.
And
anyway,
I'm guessing you didn't qualify.
And that's the only time I played it. I reckon I did. I did qualify. I wasn't a bad qualifier. That's all I can do. Before we get to the top 5, and it is this year, this top 5, it's about game lost, then back in form. So it's going to be the top 5.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, sort of situations. You told me before you hadn't watched Back in Utopia for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Can you please go and watch it again? I'm just going to give you some homework and then get back to me.
I will.
Was the feedback that it was no good.
Yeah, apparently it wasn't that great.
What's it called again?
7 Days in Utopia.
7 Days in Utopia. It sounds like it hasn't aged well.
Maybe not. I don't know. But I think I must have been going through a mental game phase or something, throughout my. And I remember something recommending it to me, and I thought, okay, maybe that's what I took out of it. But who knows?
Righto. So my top 5 game lost, then back in form list starts at number 5.
I'm lost, but I'm found again. Okay.
Steve Stricker was a hell of a golfer. He was a very good player. He was knocking on the door of getting into a Ryder Cup and completely lost his game, lost his confidence, lost his money, lost everything. I think he fell outside the top 800 players in the world and then somehow got back as an exempt player on the PGA Tour. He's my number 5.
Okay.
He also won the Ben Hogan Award. Is it the Ben Hogan Award?
I'm not sure.
The biggest comeback.
The comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year.
Correct.
Steve Stricker won it because he finished just inside. At number 4 is also Steve Stricker. because he parlayed that 120 finish into a top 10 finish, I think it was. It might have even been 5th.
Well, I think he lost his game again for a little while and then was...
Then got back. So he did it. He actually won the award, the Comeback Player of the Year award. He won it It was back to back.
Twice. I know it was back to back.
Yeah, it was back to back.
That's impressive, that is.
It was back to back. So he's my number 5 and my number 4.
Shame, Nick, you didn't get him when he was number 800 in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I was part of his comeback player of the year phase. Yeah, I think it was because of me that he won that award.
At Metro with the semis. If you haven't
that was
been
the first comeback.
My next one, similar last name, but here's a bloke who not only lost his game, but lost all his money. Henrik Stenson went from being a superstar of the European Tour, a superstar, to losing his game, making some really bad investments and choices, lost all his money, and then came back to win a major at the British Open. I think his comeback really culminated in shot 64 and beat Mickelson in a shootout.
It was like a jewel in the sun again.
Yeah.
Remember that Nicholas and Watson?
So he's my number 3. I don't know whether you could call it game lost, but it was definitely a back in form. And I've got Tiger at number 2.
Ooh,
he doesn't make it the number 1 on this list, but him coming back and winning the Masters.
Yeah, I never thought he was going to come back and win another major. That was some performance. Yeah. And to see everyone else crumble as he was just sort of doing his thing. And I might have said this before, but I remember David Duval years ago used to say, all these young players coming through, they were all saying, I wish we could have played Tiger in his prime. And Duval said, the hell you would. And we saw that at Augusta that year.
So Tigers gets my number 2. But Ben Hogan is my number 1 to have the car crash. But what I loved about the car crash is that he took his hands off the wheel and dived across his wife, Valerie, to save Valerie.
Well.
He got absolutely carved up in that accident, came back. Yeah. If you believe the legend, he used to have to get up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning for a 7:30 hit off to wrap himself and to walk.
Incredible.
And all those sorts of things.
Never said he'd walk again, all that sort of stuff. Yep.
And then I believe he had one of the greatest years of all time in 1953 where he won 3 of them.
Incredible.
And the only one he didn't win was the USPGA, and the only reason he didn't win that, they weren't flying back then, and the boat from Britain back to the States for August just didn't arrive in time.
Couldn't get back.
So as simple as that. He might have won them all.
He probably would have.
He might have won them all.
Yeah.
So that is my number 1.
That's a great top 5. I like that.
Okay, I reckon we might have a masterclass on the back of Jason Day, and that is coming up right now.
Okay, this week's masterclass. If you did watch the finish to the Byron Nelson event, we saw Jason Day coming down the stretch. And the thing you notice about him when he plays his shots, full shots, not so much putting, I don't think I saw it on putts, but on the full shots, he closes his eyes. He's got the visualisation going, and that's all part of his pre-shot routine. I remember Jack Nicklaus talking about his pre-shot routine, and he used to say before he got over the ball, he used to go to the movies. I thought that was a fantastic way to describe what he was trying to see behind the ball. So he'd stand behind the ball and just visualise exactly where he wanted the ball to start, the trajectory, the flight, where it landed, all that. I was never that detailed myself. And I'm not exactly sure if Jason Day is going into that sort of detail as well. But what he is doing when he's closing his eyes is he's getting his mind into a space. He's bringing it back into the present moment, which is the most important place to be on every golf shot, obviously. If you're thinking about the result or you're worried about what you've just done, that's where bad things happen. So he's just getting his mind back to the present moment, closing his eyes, probably taking a couple of deep breaths and really visualising what he wants to do with that golf ball. And then he gets into the swing and executes, and away it goes. Now, there's a variety of different ways that you can do it. I'm going to sort of do a little video of it later and post it on the socials, but that pre-shot routine behind the ball, that is the space where you can control that time. That's the most important thing. You control that time however way you want to do it. And Mark, I know you were talking a little bit earlier before we got on, when your pre-shot routine was on song, that's when you played your best golf, correct?
I didn't play my best too often, but I had a bit of a mentor at Texas Tech. His name was Steve Long. He was actually just in town, would you believe? He came and paid a visit. Anyway, he used to say to give your pre-shot or your preparation, he used to call it prep. Shot prep is what he used to call it. Give your shot prep a mark out of 10 after every round of golf and see if it correlates to the way you played.
Yeah.
And, of course, it did.
Yeah.
100%. Of course it did. If you were sharp, I think your pre-shot really starts the second you take the club out of the bag in the professional world. You talk over the shot with your caddy. You decide where you don't want to go. If it's over the back, you pick a club that corresponds to something that cannot go over the back. Whatever the story is.
Yeah.
But as soon as that club comes out of the bag and you've already decided with your caddy or by yourself, this is what I'm going to do, that's when your pre-shot starts. And I was always told to give it a score out of 10. And it's funny enough, the 10s I played well.
Yep.
And the 6s and 7s I didn't play so well.
I broke it down into two areas there, the decision making and then the execution. So I'd give myself a mark as well, but I do it out of 5, not out of 10, because it was just too hard. Because I didn't want to give myself 6.5s or anything like that. But yeah, the decision making phase is I found before I pulled the club, right? Yeah. And then once you pulled the club, then you stand behind the ball. You go through that little visualization, which Jason's obviously doing. But the biggest thing about that, before you walk into the ball, number one thing is to be committed as well. If you're not committed as you walk into that ball, unfortunately, you're not going to hit a good golf shot. Yeah. So we'll post something a little later video-wise and go through that.
Can I ask you, I didn't close my eyes and visualise the shot so much. I mean, I'd picture the shot if you want a fade or a draw or whatever, but I would really picture the way I want my hands to work through the impact. And I would rehearse that little how I wanted them to feel through impact.
Yep.
Just those little triggers.
A little practice swing behind?
Yeah, just a mini, this is what it's going to feel like through impact.
Yep.
It doesn't take much. I mean, whatever floats your boat, really.
Yeah, it's funny, I see some amateurs these days and they're trying to make the exact practice swing behind the ball or next to the ball that they're going to have on the shot. No. Now, that confuses me a little because number one is they usually take a divot. Yeah. And then the grooves get filled with dirt.
They don't clean the face.
Grooves. All of a sudden you've got a club face full of dirt, which is not going to make the ball spin. Yep. Why don't I spin the ball? Well, you've got dirt in the grooves. Okay, there's number one.
Let's have a look at the face of the club.
And the other thing is, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to, as you alluded to, get a feeling for the golf swing. You watch Tiger Woods, especially behind the ball, and he's making 2 or 3 rehearsals, and he's just making air swings. He's not even coming close to the ground. They're all in slow motion, getting a feeling for what he wants to do. The whole key about all this is to figure out what works for yourself because there are a variety of ways to do it. But I love what you just said there.
Last one, because we
don't
want
go on for hours.
I love pre-shot. I love it. If I ever try and teach a kid, it's always about pre-shot. Yeah. It just always is. Golf on the PGA Tour that we watch on TV, it's very different to club golf. We don't want PGA Tour style.
No, that's true.
We don't. So what's a nice way, do you think, for club golfers? And that's why I always just the mini rehearsal of what the hand's going through, that would be my tip. So you don't look like a PGA Tour pro and you don't slow everything up. But that's just the way I think. Now, I'm more interested in the way that you think, seeing your number 16 in the world. So you do a lot of teaching with a lot of players about how to actually get around a golf course. Yeah. What's your advice to them? Because I'm sure it's not the PGA Tour
as they're playing out there. Yeah, it's like this little mini version of the same thing. We don't want to have 14 different practice swings, behind the ball. That's one of the things that annoys me a little bit. I try and get people to go, right, first and foremost, before you pull the club, what shot do you want to hit? What club do you want to hit? Where do you want to hit it, etc. And then after you've pulled the club, stand behind the ball, make 1 or 2 little mini practice swings, as you say, and then walk in, a couple of looks, react, and go. And all of that should take around about 20 to 30 seconds. Oh. And be ready when it's your turn. That's the other thing. You can do all your decision-making phase while your playing partners are hitting their shots as well. You can figure all that stuff out.
Okay. Well, to Tri Blue, who said the podcast is too short, it's not this week. We'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen's podcast, Talk Birdie to Me, live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia. We'd love you to follow us on the socials and rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design,